Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castle Keeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video, I am going to be unpacking the character race spotlight of half-orcs. This is half-orcs as presented in Castles and Crusades, and I'm not going to spend too much time setting this up. I'm going to go right into the PDF, and this is from the Player's Handbook. And let's start taking a look at half-orcs in Castles and Crusades. And I will expand on this, make this a little bit larger for you. So half-orcs exist on the edges of society, little cared for by humans, orcs, or others. Half-orcs are the offspring of a pairing between an orc or other goblinoid and human, and are generally a dispirited and angry lot, accustomed to doing dangerous jobs for others. Indeed, most half-orcs only make consistent contact with others when their famed fighting skills are needed. Half-orcs can be found in many regions of the world, haunting the periphery of settled lands. They often find orc tribes and kingdoms to their liking, as those humanoids are an easy group to dominate. Within human communities, their roles range from hunted outcasts to elite warrior castes. Description: half-orcs combine the worst features of humans and orcs. Most have an unpleasant demeanor, and some are repulsive and even hideous to look at. They typically have massive jaws, coarse hair, and dark penetrating eyes. Their skin tends to be a ruddy dark color and resembles the rough texture skin common among orcs. Physiology, however, half-orcs combine the best features of both of their parent races. Lost my spot there, sorry. Half-orcs mirror humans in height or stand even taller. They are naturally muscular and agile and do not suffer from light sensitivity as do orcs. Half-orcs are unsavory and contentious individuals. As outcasts, they have few friends or allies and often live miserable and lonely lives, wary of all. Even amongst themselves, there is little trust and great fear as they jockey for positions of acceptance and status as mercenaries or in more nefarious professions. The social stigma that half orcs encounter throughout their lives, when combined with the militant aggressiveness of orcs and the competitiveness of humans, produces a nearly fearless warrior and a relentless foe. As outcasts, half orcs find themselves in a constant search for like minded individuals and others in whom they can place their trust and faith. As such, they are occasionally found in the company of travelers, mercenary bands, adventurers, and others who, either willingly or by accident, are ostracized from their society. Friendly relations with half elves are uncannily not uncommon, for the two share similar social stigma. Half orcs are a breed apart. Half orcs are unswervingly loyal to those they trust and in whom they place their faith. On the other hand, to those who break their faith, half orcs have an undying enmity, and no effort will be spared in righting a wrong and taking revenge upon their enemies. Half orcs can be both a friend and a companion of immense value or a foe of terrible power. Their racial affinities. Half orcs typically care for themselves and themselves alone, avoiding even their own kind. No race finds them likable, and they return the favor. Half orcs are often found with orcs or smaller goblinoids, as those are the least discerning of the races and are easily dominated. Other half orcs tend to be found in larger human settlements where, if they are lucky, they can find a certain degree of anonymity. Environment. Half orcs are found in most climes. They have no preference for any one environment and adapt well to any climate. They tend to live alone, even in large cities where there are often found in ghettos, slums, and other areas where officials rarely patrol and thieves wander at night. Their racial traits and abilities. Dark vision is a similar manner to dwarves. Half orcs can see in complete darkness for up to 60 feet. Dark vision produces images that are in shades of gray, but it is otherwise like normal sight. Half orcs can function well with no light at all. Bright lights, such as from a lantern or other light sources, spoil dark vision. A half orc requires 1 minute to adjust his or her eyes when the light source is extinguished before gaining full use of dark vision. Enhanced sense of smell. This ability allows half orcs to detect the presence but not the specific location of creatures within 30 feet or within 60 feet if the creature is upwind. Strong scents such as smoke or rotting garbage can be detected at twice those ranges. Overpowering scents such as skunk musk can be detected in 3 times these ranges. If a half-orc becomes familiar with an individual, he can learn the individual's scent and recognize it. It should further be noted that false, powerful odors can easily mask other scents and completely spoil this ability. Martial prowess. Half orcs come from very violent societies in which fights and contests of strength are common and necessary for survival. This has inured them to great amounts of pain and given most a great capacity to fend off blows and fight unarmed. As such, half orcs receive a +1 to their armor class whenever they are not wearing armor of any type. This ability combines with magical rings, robes, and similar devices that confer an class bonus but are not armor. This bonus adds to the unarmored armor class of half orc monks. Resistance to disease. Half orcs possess a resistance to disease passed down from their goblinoid parent. They receive a +2 bonus to all disease saving throws. Their languages are typically common, goblin, and orc. They're medium sized. They move 30 feet. Their attribute modifiers are a +1 constitution, +1 strength, -2 charisma. And as a ranger, they get a +2 modifier to tracking, most likely because of their sense of smell. Typical classes for them are fighters, rangers, rogues, assassins, barbarians, monks, clerics, and knights. So there you have the half orc, um, and I will refer back to. I'll go back to the beginning here, and I am going to refer back to. Oh, I missed it. It's back over someplace over around here. That's halflings. Sorry. Here we are, half orcs, and then I will come back over here. Um, so that's all set up. So as you can see, I mean, half orcs are, again, they're treated as an outcast, um, an outcast race, that characters or player characters are going to have to deal with that. They're going to have to potentially overcome some of those things. It's very interesting to see how, mixed with other groups of adventurers, however, though, they're capable of building that strong bond of loyalty towards those that treat them fairly, and so that's to me one of the biggest reasons why, if I were playing a character, I would hope that one of the other players is playing a half orc, and really role plays that out, because then I'll know that as long as I treat that character fairly, that I should have that kind of loyalty shown back in return. Now, I know they described here they take the worst of both their traits, physical traits from both orcs and humans. However, that didn't fully play out in the description, so um, I'm not quite sure what that exactly means. Um, Most depictions of half orcs are of like what you see here in this image here. You almost wouldn't believe that this was a half orc female. Now this comes from a different game, but there are a variety of different depictions of half orcs. They range the full spectrum, just like their skin tone and their body build and so on tends to range the full spectrum. It is quite rare to see an unattractive half orc female, and this is a perfect example of that. Um, so you don't typically see female half orcs as being depicted as very brutish and ugly and that kind of thing. So, um, I was hard pressed to find half orc males who didn't look specifically like these huge Brutus, brutal beast looking like humanoids. And the same thing on the other side of the spectrum with half orc females tended to be very fit and kind of look this way. I've seen a few that had the greenish skin tone and such like that, and that kind of runs the gambit too. So there's probably a much larger color palette and range for half orcs than you would find amongst humans, right? Because you can have the skin tones from like being you know lighter skinned to very dark skinned, and then not just running that range of beige to brown to even black, but also mixing in greens or reds or whatever as well. So it's an interesting way to add a lot more flavor to your depictions of your characters. Um, and these things are always talking about, like the description I just gave you um, from the player's handbook is by no means the say all and be all. You can always have um, other examples that are somewhat of a break from the mold there as well. So um, it's another character class and a character race, I should say, that is something that you should eventually experiment with and have some fun with it and really challenge yourself to either learn how to compensate for the shortcomings that they're certainly going to face, in their interactions, or just run with them and really support really support the stereotypes and really play, this kind of badass and undesirable, and yet still be a very enjoyable character to play, because you are going to be um, you're going to match up with that. Well, if you're good towards me, I'll be super loyal, but if you cross me, keep an eye on your back at all times, and so that's one of both the benefits and the challenges of playing some of these race and then class combinations that are that are always going to be somewhat challenging, and that's a good part of it as well, is to challenge yourself as a player to play with character races and classes that are not so easy to deal with and to represent as you're doing your role play. So I hope you like this video, and I hope you're enjoying this series as long along with the character class spotlights that I've been doing. And as always, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hadn't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Share these videos out for others that might be interested in taking a look at Castles and Crusades. And as always, I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon. Currently working on putting together my Castles and Crusades campaign that should begin sometime in September. I have, already about 8 players involved. I have room for 2 more. So if you're, interested in doing that, these are online games, so you don't have to worry about making it in person. They will be weekly, and I am planning on this campaign lasting for a long, long time. So, if you're interested in that kind of a thing, just leave your name in the comments section, and we will touch bases. You can also go to my Discord channel, and that's linked in the description. And you can go there as well and just drop a line that, hey, I'm interested in any of the games that I happen to be running, whether it be one shots or mini campaigns, long campaigns. Like I said, this is going to be my upcoming long term campaign that I'm projecting will be long term. And now, for me, at least personally, long term means 2+ year campaigns, because now my AD&D First Edition campaign has established that as my standard. We're very close to 2 years at this point now, maybe a couple more weeks to go, and we will hit that 2 year mark. I'm really excited about that. Many of those players are in on my Castles and Crusades campaign that is upcoming, and everybody's enthusiastic about it. So, really looking forward to doing more with Castles and Crusades moving forward over the next couple of weeks and months to come. So, as always, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your evening.